Hello, everybody. This is the third podcast. This one's a bit late because I forgot to do one, and then I forgot to do one, and then I forgot to do one, and then I couldn't be bothered to do one. I'm a bit ill, so there might be a bit of coughing here and there. Today we have me, Knight, Sam,
Hi.
and Tail.
Hi.
Welcome all. Today we have a few hopefully interesting topics, a few different ones, which will hopefully produce a good podcast. Now, first of all, I would like to congratulate Tail on finally getting a session of his league started. How did you find it?
Shit. I mean, it was okay. It was like I feel like I could have ran it better, but I mean, it's the first test of the session. We'll try again next week and see how that goes.
I don't think. Oh, okay.
Hopefully
I
it was
don't
better.
think.
Doesn't
go
I don't
perfect on
think
the
session
first
was the
night.
right word, but okay.
I guess Sam can give you his two cents on running the league. Obviously, I can as well, but Knight, you haven't ran yours yet, so if you can't.
Well,
I still
because I'm waiting on the car.
Yeah, I'm halfway through it. Well, the front end's done.
Yes, I saw.
Right. So I guess after that little introduction, we'll get on to the first topic. We were talking about this one earlier, but a little bit. What leagues would you like to see return from the past? This can be literally like last year or back from like 2012. You know, any from the past, not being a particular date. And which ones you wish you were part of when they existed.
Well, first of all, I don't think I'd be very good at answering this, seeing as I have only been in this community for 2 years and a month or so. But there was a lot of talk about. I would like to see MRTI and Roblox again, just so I can actually,
You
drive
don't want to see MRT.
it.
You don't want to see.
Okay. OHR,
That's where
well,
I've
that kind of got
triggered
replaced.
so many people.
OHR kind of got replaced by FS, so that's technically not gone. Although I would like to see Wesley owning a league again, because he's a great scripter, great guy, and he's pretty damn good at running the league as well. So yeah, that's all I'd say. Just Wesley running the league again. Although that's probably never going to happen.
I have to agree with Knight's. OHR was like the thing back then, and it was really enjoyable for everyone. And it would be great if it came back, but like Wesley's gone to sim racing, and it's not a possibility. Also, Thrill could be good because I didn't get a chance to race in it, but if it did come back, I'd like to have a shot in it. So Thrill and OHR.
For me, I don't know if there's really any like leagues that I would be excited for coming back, but if there was one league that maybe I would have liked to have taken a bit like more part in. I'm good at English, honest. I can't quite remember the name of it, but I raced in like the lower division of it.
Oh, FCC.
FCC, that's the one. Because I wouldn't have minded seeing how well I did against like Nene and that, you know.
Probably
personally.
the same you do as against everyone in RRC.
Shit.
I think people
Well,
kind of.
I'm doing okay.
Nene's really good, but they place him on a bit too high of a pedestal in a way. Like, you know, so he was obviously he'd have been like a top driver in RRC, kind of, probably that area. I'm assuming you are done. I can.
Yeah,
I'm my
I'm
2
done.
pennies. For me, I wouldn't want to see OHR back because that's the reason it died. It was it's an old league, and Wes had no interest in running it, and I don't think he was quite the right character to run it. He was too nice. He wasn't pushy enough, so people were easily able to just run over him. So things were very quite unorganized at times, and he wasn't in the server half the fucking time to run the races. So I wouldn't want to see OHR back. But one league I always kind of wanted to take part in was R1RAA, because I did they tried bringing it back. The Laggy Australian tried bringing it back quite early on, actually, when I was joining row racing, like the end of 2016, and I did some of the pre-season testing for it. It was a shit league, but I know in its actual prime, before it was brought back 90 million times, because they tried bringing it back like 3 or 4 times after that, um, it was supposed to be an okay league, and I would have liked to see how I'd have been in it. Obviously, FCC, those sort of leagues, I'd have liked to have seen if I'd be at the top or whatever. If I'd win a few championships back then. Um, I think that's mainly my little bit. I'm trying to think if there's any that I would have wanted to be a part of. Also, Sura's probably not coming back because JP's got another project league he's working on. I won't
Oh,
say anything now because I don't know how much information he wants to give away, or how much people know, but he's working on something with Koenigsegg CCR. So that's a juicy insider for you. A few people probably already know, but I won't say what they're doing or anything. They'll release
I
that.
didn't. That's a pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah, they're working. It's not IndyCar. It's not Cyril.
Oh,
Cyril was good, but I don't think it was the right thing for JP to be running. I think he mostly brought it back as a blast from the past because he'd run it for a season back in like 2015 or 16.
yeah, that I knew.
So yeah, moving on to how you as a driver get the best out of the car. So driving techniques, or how you practice. Any little bits of how you feel like you get the best out of a car. It's quite an open-ended question, so reply as you will, or don't reply. Maybe you want to be silent.
Well, and I'll start it off. The main way that I try and get like more out of my car and such is just trying to get as close to the barriers as you possibly can while carrying as much speed through the turns as I can. Although sometimes I'll drift wide or ruin a lap because of that, but it's all about trying to get that solid consistency. But it's pretty hard, as you have noticed by how my current season's going. So yeah,
That was very PR from you.
very PR.
What I try and do, I use like two wheels on the grass and then try to drift the car around the corner. That's like how I try to gain time, and I focus more on the exit rather than corner speed to just try and get a good run. I don't know why, it just satisfies me, but also getting close to the wall, like Tail said, that's like, yeah.
Sorry, you went AFK there. I guess. Well, I do what I like to call a consistency run in practice a lot of the time. That's just, yeah, that's not really getting much out of the car, but it certainly helps come race day because that's normally how I'm able to climb so many places from qualifying. In terms of getting the most out of the car, just believing that the car will go through the corners without hitting the walls, just being aggressive, just throwing everything into the lap. That's how you do it, I think.
Yeah. Certainly trust in the car, trust in your own ability is a pretty big thing. I've said it a few times, just in general to people. If you trust yourself and you trust the car, you'll go quicker. If you don't trust yourself in the car, then you'll play it safe. And then
And die.
I always try and, in terms of practice, I try and do little bits often. Sometimes it turns into bigger sessions if I'm enjoying the circuit and kind of run away with it, but I'll try and like one day do a few laps, stop once I've gone, okay, I'm not really going any quicker. Come back the next day, and I normally find a bit more time here and there, and then the next day, and the cycle continues until I've reached sort of my optimum or close to. Never really there. I'm often quite a way off, but somewhere there or thereabouts. I guess a good lean-on question to this would be, what tips would you give to someone who's just starting out? If there was a Euro racer looking at this, what would you say to them to the first thing they should do?
Well, first of all, don't set your sights up too high because that's exactly how people's motivation gets crushed within a month of them starting. They aim too high. They're like, "Oh, I've had experience. I've done one race on R Factor, which has nothing to do with which is completely different to Roblox. Therefore, I'm going to win the race," and they come like plumb last, and then they stop. Just gradually improve. Just gradually flow. I just say you come into the community, you're new, just just get to know everyone a little bit, and then just gradually improve your driving. Just if you need, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help to improve because in the end of the day, you're using your initiative. People who laugh at you, you can one day become better than them. Just use your initiative, seek help when you need it, and just stay calm under pressure and just gradually work your way up. That's exactly what I've done, and I think hasn't been too. It's not been the most successful thing in the world, but it certainly has been successful. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with Knight. Like, I'd start low in like a low tier league. Um, that's maybe not well known, and then work your way up. Prove yourself instead of like just going into the deep end, like Knight said. I did that. I started off in WTS. I got picked up from a public game, so I think that's as low as you can go. And then you just work your way up, get noticed, and yeah, and
Just
eventually
descend,
you'll go up. Yeah.
It's quite hard to think of something to add on to that. One thing that I always do, I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but I never give up really. Like I will always race to the end because you never know like what's gonna happen up the road. You may end up finishing higher than you expect because of like an incident near the end. That's why I don't DNF from races, essentially, even if I'm out of the points.
I'm gonna counteract a little bit of what you guys have said. If you come into for racing knowing that you're decent, like you've gone to a track and done some testing against guys and you can match them or whatnot, chuck yourself in the deep end. Don't start low because if you start low, then you're probably gonna be sat around that community for a little bit because communities don't shift too much. This, like RRC is quite a similar community to WTSI. There are different members in both, um, but there are a lot of carryovers. So if you go into a community, a low community, you'll probably be sticking there for a little bit. Chucking yourself in the deep end also means you force yourself to get used to being quick immediately. Sure, you might be make a lot of errors at the start, but if you make sure that you're immediately competitive and you have an immediately competitive mindset, then you'll find you probably do a lot better than if you go, I'll just settle for a few P5, a lower end league will get a couple of P5s or something. Because you just don't have that mindset. If you think you can win, then you should go into higher leagues, oh, sorry. Fuck me.
Alright, don't worry. Yeah, I would
That's
definitely.
That's what I did because I didn't start out in a high league. No, I started out in RRC, but it was roughly the right community. And I picked up a few wins here and there. HRO, I picked up a win, and then I went into OHR, which is pretty much at the time was the best league you could probably be in. Joined shit team, sure, because Renault was just a template car with a few added bits, but yeah, sort of chuck yourself in the deep end if you're good. If you don't think you're so good, then starting out low is probably better because you have a bit more chance at good results.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but yeah, I pretty much based it more on how I did it and how I know a lot of other people did it. I mean,
didn't do it that way.
yeah, but I'd had absolutely no practice in anything. I'd never done any form of sim racing before.
I very much started out with the aim of winning in mind.
I just started out with the aim of just doing the best I could, and then eventually it transformed into from best that I could do became podiums, then it became wins, and eventually became championships. And I've got every single one of the previously mentioned.
Right. Next topic on my list is in terms of preference of leagues. So I have listed here car creation, spec, or what I've noted down as upgrade spec. So like RRC for example, you've got standard cars, but they can be upgraded over a season, same as IRL. And I think that's it actually for sort of upgrade specs. So those sort of leagues, what do you prefer? What do you think works better? And that is the question, really. It's pretty simple.
Well, I would have to say that I quite enjoy the upgrade spec, like the one like RRC and such, because it gives you that extra bit of motivation to, get good results so that then you can improve your car, so that then you can get better results down the line. That's me.
I must say, I really, really like the upgrade spec. It is by far my favorite method because, well, if you're a driver who's committed, but you come late or something, you miss the team selections, you get plumped into a bad team. With normal cars, that's probably when you think, forget it, I'm down and out. But with upgrades, you can show your commitment, you can get that team up, and at the same time establish yourself. Because if a team starts upgrading quickly, it's going to get attention. Like you have this team rolling around the back at the start of the season, the end of the season they're at the front. Something must have gone on. Yeah, it just gives drivers that little boost of confidence. Like I can do this, I can make this a top car. And I think that I don't really like. I like all three of them, but if I was to select one, definitely the upgrade spec.
Sam?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I prefer upgrade spec because it's satisfying if you're in a slow car to build up your car, make it faster, and then go for the top and win. I also like spec because it gives everyone a chance of winning, and I'm not really a fan of car creation because not everyone can make a car, and gives people more advantages. Like we saw with Fusion and like FS, they were winning 9 times out of 10
Boy,
in previous
because I made a
seasons.
good car.
Sure, you're liking all this feedback, seeing as your league is an upgrade.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna once again go against the waves.
I feel like I'm not making any good points now at this point.
No, this one is very much personal opinion. That's why I put it in there, because I wanted to see if it had produced some interest and points. I I've done upgrade spec leagues. I did FOC. I'm doing IRL. I like them, but I don't like them because of the way I'm competitive. I don't like knowing that someone has a better car than I do, because it means I have to pull more out of myself to make sure I'm either on par with them or ahead of them. Which is why I like spec, because I know everyone has the same car as me. I know it's just me that's putting that performance out of the car. It's not the car. It's nothing. It's not that sort of thing. So I like spec leagues. I don't do them often because there don't tend to be many around. There's WTSI, obviously, and there'll be Tails League. I assume will be spec.
Yes, we'll be full spec.
And maybe HRO if Captain gets that Zord. So I enjoy a good spec league. And then car creation from a team owner perspective is also really fun because just a simple fact of building your own car to compete, and then obviously, in my case, hopefully win races, is very satisfying. Seeing your car do well. Obviously, if you're racing it yourself, even better. But watching Drac, watching Bloxy win races, get podiums, etc. It's been pretty satisfying in FS. And obviously WRO, I bought my Frankenstein thing as well, which won races. So it's very car creation is satisfying, but spec is fun. Now, next up might be a bit of an odd topic. Opinion on role-playing in row racing.
Oh, can I have a little bit more? Can you be a little bit more specific, please?
When people are
Just
like,
in-
I've
in
brought my
general.
suspension.
Is it good for row racing?
Ah.
Is it, you know?
Like Rabbit a bit.
I'm going to be completely honest.
Yes.
No, just no.
Just no.
I mean,
Not
why
even.
would you?
Not
Why
even
would
a
you
reason
roleplay
why.
when you? Why would you roleplay when you can just race? You know, there's so much more. Instead of going, oh, I broke my suspension. Oh no, but I'm still able to drive at full speed. Just
Watching
fucking
that
drive.
R2 race back here
Oh no.
was fucking great.
Oh no.
I was gonna say, wasn't
my
one of
God.
it was like an IndyCar league you were in, I'm sure, Audi. Wasn't that partially roleplay, where if you hit a wall hard enough, you would be like
Oh, Commands
out
League.
for a while? Yeah. Wasn't that
Yeah, he
kinda
did.
down that line?
I forgot he did
I'll-
stuff like that. Yeah.
I'll put it this way: for you, the second one was an like every time I voice crack, I'm like, but then the second one was another voice crack. Great. Anyway, for all you role players out there, I'll just ask you a question. So, if you hit a bump and your suspension magically breaks, and you pull out of the race, this might not work, but if the tire Roblox physics phases through your head, does that mean you're dead? Does that mean you're just going to stop
Yes.
racing?
Yes. That's it. You're done. Because if you die in the game, you die in real life.
That makes perfect sense. Exactly. Tails probably
that's a-
Tails
Bonus
probably
point. Bonus point for anyone that gets that reference.
Yeah, I got it. Tails probably trying not to well up inside of cringe when saying that. Poor lad. Anyway, I'll let Sam speak now.
I sort of agree, but I don't actually mind roleplay as long as it's not too extreme, where they have to be taken away on, like, on a stretcher, on a hospital, and they've actually got a hospital in the middle of the track, so they can take it to them and make sure they're okay.
Oh my
Hold on.
God! I've never witnessed. I've
never seen a hospital.
Tail
in the middle
poking
of
his
the track.
Commands
Pokey has
League.
recognized.
Oh, okay. Commands League, back in the IRL days, if you crashed, you had to hop in the, was it a truck or was it a proper ambulance thing? I think it was only a truck, like a little EMT thing, and they'd take you along to a little medical centre, and you'd have to hop in, and they'd
Evaluate you.
they'd evaluate you, and basically Commands just had a fucking spin chart, I think, and he'd go, so, okay, we're gonna have a look at your spins chart. Okay, you've broken your neck.
Lost
You're
an arm,
gonna be
okay, you're
unable to
okay.
race.
I joined
Pretty
CMG's
much, yeah.
league just as he abolished it. That was fortunate.
It was. It never happened often. I think it only happened a few times, and it wasn't made that major. But
I feel like the safety truck crashed once. I'm sure it did.
I remember. I mean, at Road America, Diogo killed the safety car by completely ramming it off into a wall.
You've literally just reminded me of probably one of the most golden moments. It's F1 RL Suzuka. Phantom is the safety car driver, and he climbs over the wall and flips. So we had to all stand still while Phantom managed to
The
try to
F1
get
safety car was terrible.
That was amazing.
It was
It went
awful.
400 SPS or something at top speed.
It's just this free model pile of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't mind roleplay if it's like a marshal pushing the car off the track. I feel that's fine and it's acceptable. But like I said, if there's like a clinic and medical center in the middle of the track, then it's like, and also like if there's public roads going out and there's literally a whole town next to the track where I don't know, but yeah, that's too far for me. Like marshals pushing the cars, I think that's the limit.
It's my turn. Woo. But to do with the whole role playing and that, like I personally wouldn't mind it as long as they keep it to like their own leagues and such, and it's just like how do I put it? Like, if it's just, God, I'm bad with words, by the way. If you haven't noticed from the first podcast, fuck, I can't.
I'm
I
sensing
can't-
another death. I'm sensing
I
Tails'
was
death.
no,
part
no.
two.
I'm not having a laughing fit. I just can't remember what I was gonna say.
Not yet.
I've had a mind blank. That's
You
what I
need a
call
break.
it.
I prefer to
Shall
call
I-
it a
shall
brain
I
fart, but okay.
Say my bit, and then
Sure,
we'll come back to you.
Sure, you say your
So
bit.
roleplay is kind of always a little bit of a thing in real racing, like pit stops, safety cars, that sort of shit. You don't need it necessarily, but we do it anyway. You know, pit stops are just a bit of a waste, just wasting a bit of time sitting around. We don't actually do anything purposeful in them normally. So you have shit like that. Safety cars you don't really need, but we do them anyway. That's all fine. It's when you start getting to the like real My Little Pony kind of roleplay shit, like the deep shit,
No.
that we're getting bad. Like when it starts affecting the racing, that's when you should get rid of it.
I've spoiled
It's like when Rabbit was trying to in WTSI Vancouver season 1 was trying to force the usage of his medical car thing, and you had to sit in the car until he got to you, and then he had to drive it off, and he'd like take you, then he'd take you back, and it starts affecting the actual racing at that point, and that's when you draw a line and say, no, this is not 8.
This is gay.
The truck blocked half the track, and it messed up a lot of
What?
people's laps.
What?
Anyway, have you actually
Yeah.
thought of your point yet?
No.
Right. We're gonna have a take 2 on this and hope it goes well. Like
I'm sensing take
for the-
6 in a minute.
Shush. So for the people that do all the role playing in row racing, I don't mind that. If they have their own league for that, more power to them in that. Just so long as they don't bring it over to the non-role playing racing leagues, then I'm fine with it, you know? There.
It's
You
like
did
it's a
it.
nice little thing.
I did it and I
sometimes.
didn't die this time.
Right, and I'm gonna pick a slightly different one. Here's a good one that we could have some fun with. Most controversial driver in road racing. That can be past, present. Just pick one from your mind and have a little chat about him.
Controversial.
On and off the track, or one in particular?
Bit of
I
both.
don't want to repeat myself.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna repeat myself though.
Alright, can I answer
Another
first?
one.
Oh yeah, because we had a sort of
Tail-
similar-ish question with like what was your worst rival, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
Arnold.
Most controversial person is Tail for being Scottish.
Oof.
That's not how it works.
No, I'm kidding. Tail will love you, don't worry.
Ah!
You are my dad after all, right?
Yes, I'm everyone's dad.
I'm
Andy's son.
Okay. Most controversial person? Probably Ernest. He manages to have he has this sixth sense to know how to get banned before he joins the server. And for that, he gets full marks. Also Scouser, total pleb on track sometimes. I think Audi has very good experience of that, in particular. Marlowe in his last, like he's okay, but like he can be a bit dodgy sometimes. And well, I think there's only one winner here, Darla.
Oh yeah.
Completely forgot about it.
Brainwashes entire servers. He's racist.
Makes them pay Robux to race.
He's racist. He's basically a megalomaniac, but not in a war.
This is us getting our message across. If you're in Dallas League, get the fuck out.
Please get the fuck out. Yeah, he
Yes.
is going to rape you. He is going to
Guys,
rape you.
guys.
I've seen his
Like-
plans. I have seen his plans. His plan is to get everyone. Before it's too late.
Knight's already been captured, apparently.
Yeah.
Hey, no,
He's
I
already
just stalked
dead.
him. I took a leaf out of his book and
That's-
stalked him.
That's illegal.
That's two.
It's
He
me.
doesn't let black drivers race, so what's so illegal about
What?
stalking? No, that's true. He doesn't let black drivers race.
He banned
Oh,
Blaine because.
I don't really feel like there's much point bringing Darla up as a controversial
let's
person
move
because
off Darla
he
because he
does it
seems to-
on purpose.
He seems to thrive off publicity, so let's just move on.
No,
See, I
just
know
to sound
someone else.
purpose.
I know someone else who may do it on purpose and is a bit controversial.
Go ahead.
Lego.
Oh,
I would
no.
say Lego. Personally,
Chris probably watching
my
the
own-
stream is probably in tears now. What have
I
you done,
don't.
Tail?
It's so
Don't give
like,
a shit.
he probably doesn't
Exactly.
know what the word controversial means.
Fruitcake.
Okay then.
He'll
Fruitcake.
take it as a compliment.
Probably will actually.
But yeah, it's just. I remember that whole shit with the Ferrari thing.
Oh
Just-
no.
I love Ferrari, but I hate them.
Exactly. It was.
Mm.
Oh.
I love how we've lost a
HRL.
viewer. That's Lego, he's gone. He's had enough.
HRO Putrajaya, what's a fruitcake?
Right, I think I think it's Sam's turn.
Do we just go through the quotes and moments and just mention every single time that goes in there?
A lot.
Maybe another day.
What's your
I
favourite
think,
quote from the quotes and moments?
Everyone's mentioned quite a lot of the controversial people, but Diogo is also quite controversial.
Oh god.
He was taking part in rigging a championship. So was it Ernest could win, or himself
Ernest,
could win?
so Ernest could win, yeah.
Yes, that I remember
Yeah.
that.
And like he's
that get
famous for
undone,
not
though?
finishing any race he takes part in. He's just so retarded sometimes and doesn't think. Sometimes if you think if he had a brain he'd be dangerous. So that's
Oh,
why
okay then.
Oof.
that's
I mean,
why I think Diogo's
shots
gonna-
fired.
Imagine having no brain.
Well,
This post was.
I'm going to
made by her.
mention two. Obviously, we have to have our token Eden mention, just because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
he's a bit of an ass.
Shout
And
out to Eden.
I'm just
I
gonna
forgot about him. I'm very sorry.
I'm just gonna bring up Nitrous because he manages to always be an ass at some point during a race.
i.e.
In
today.
his one RRC race so far, he managed to wipe out probably half the field at some point during the race through blue flags or just general, just incompetence. And there's always at some point in a race, whether it's qualifying or after or before or during the race, someone's shouting at Nitrous to stop being a retard.
It's not wrong. It's not
Just
wrong at all.
he manages to be like not a lovable
The most
retard
incompetent
like
human
Lego
being.
kind of
He's
is.
even more incompetent than my brother.
He's just an annoying retard.
Hey, that sounds exactly like someone I live with.
When he's being normal, he's fine. He's fine and tolerable. But
Nitrous and normal are two words that don't
in
go
race
together.
situations and just before race situations, big no. No thanks.
Big no. Yes.
Just big no.
Can I get one big no, please?
Right.
Can I have a no, please?
This podcast is sponsored by No.
Just no. We don't need a sponsor for this. Right.
Here's one where there's probably only going to be one answer for it. If you could fix one thing with row racing, what would it be?
Lag vision. But I'm not saying anymore.
Bing, 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 bang.
Well, I will actually.
HMM.
Lag vision. Lag vision.
We're not doing that again.
Lag vision is probably the thing that has made me want to throw a brick through my laptop more than anything else. Yeah. It's annoying because we have to leave, on our screen we're like 10 years clear, but we still have to leave space and it costs us time and causes crashes and causes people to get angry and yeah. It's just not fun. So Roblox, if you're listening to this, sort your lives out, please.
Make
and
sure
please,
your gamer
actually,
banned from
oh,
Roblox.
please, also, would you like to also be competent when it comes to ads as well? Because I don't want to see, this actually happened to me once. I don't want to see naked Roblox girls on my homepage.
What?
Oh.
That's not the topic of the
Tune in next
podcast.
time.
I'm sorry, this is you're probably gonna get
You're
demonetized.
going way off track. Yes, he's gonna get all that. He's gonna lose those 2 pennies. Ow!
If I could fix one thing, I'd probably fix just Lag vision, yeah, like Knight said, and also just like lag overall. Like, me and Lego sometimes can't race in leagues because they're too laggy and there's too many parts and everything.
It's fine. Just
if they
delete the
could,
track.
yeah, if they could fix that, it would be a lot better because it let a lot more people into the community, and it would. I think it would make it more exciting. Yeah.
This is a this is a
This is
tough
a
question.
this is a sus.
That was wrong.
But yeah, to go off of Knight's point, yeah, if we didn't have live vision, it would be so much better racing. Honestly, like we could actually have side by side battles and not need to worry that a car is like 3 car lengths behind and yet is still alongside us.
Exactly.
Mm.
It's extremely annoying.
It makes overtaking so difficult because not only do you need to judge when you're alongside them on your screen, but you need to make sure
Oh no.
you've got enough of a gap when you're
Tell you.
passing them.
Celtic General.
Oh, what have you done? Yes, I see the. Oh, what have you done now? Why is there? Oh my god, guy!
I knew we would kill him. Let's go. We killed him again.
Talking a banana.
We killed him again.
Please don't.
Hey, please remind me. What is Singapore your favourite track?
No, we're not doing that again. If you want to see
Yes,
that,
we
you
are.
go back to the first podcast.
You've just died again. Okay, I have permission.
Yes, but I died for like 5 seconds because it's just a duck with a banana body that's peeling.
Just like
There we
the point.
Quotes and moments, just that.
How to sidetrack an entire podcast? Get a
Hey
little
guys, look in the general.
get a little
section.
bit distracted and post a picture of a duck banana.
Can we put that on the podcast? Or
I
just leave
have
it around?
already put it on
Yes.
there.
Oh no!
Now we're just
Oh, he
gonna
actually has.
put a little one in the corner. There we go. Right.
No, don't-
Anyway.
don't put a lemon. Oh.
Back on topic, yeah. Pokey Pokey approved.
I'm
of
just
your
gonna
death tale.
say fix some of the really bad drivers and fix just fix lag vision.
It's Lego.
That's a bit
I
harsh,
would
man.
like to see more people continue to join the community. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty simple. I'd just like to see more people join the community. Preferably the good ones, because obviously you don't want a bunch of you don't want a bunch of F1 gods and F1 legends. You want more people like
yeah.
Bloxy and Mythic, although without Mythic's slight tendency to be an angry boy.
Bloxy and Mythic, but without Mythic.
Yeah, just a tip to if you are for some reason watching this and you do plan to continue to start road racing, please, whatever you do not come into it with the name F1 and then something good in your name, because it's proven that if you do that, you will be a shit driver no matter what you do.
XX Sebastian
It's a
Vettel.
true
Cue
story.
the first person to get disqualified from an RRC race. Cue someone who's not fast. There's got to be other ones as well. Oh yeah,
F1
Superman
legend. F1 legend.
Cue the guy who
F1
thought he was Nico Rosberg. Genuinely.
Oh, You mean Rosberg Nico?
No,
There was another one as
Superman
well.
Regiment.
There's F1
Superman
God, there's
Regiment
F1
claims he was
Legend.
Nico Rosberg.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
No, he
God.
was like, I'm Nico Rosberg's son or something bollocks like that.
Exactly, it was bollocks. Cock. Anyway,
Right,
back to the
moving.
topic.
No, topic's done now. Moving on. What sort of leagues do you prefer, casual or professional? So professional being like FS, where they try and keep things to proper regulations and they, really stick to the rules and sort of try and make it a fairly professional deal. Or do you prefer it
To be
more
honest-
casual and open and less regulated?
To be honest, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I'd probably say a mix. FS is a professional league, and I get that, but then I feel that running league trying to be professional is a lot more strenuous. And that's why leagues like Srill and OHR, no, OHR not so much, but like Panda's starting to um, say like he doesn't really want to run the league, and JP shut down Thrill twice. I think running a professional league, like your standards are a bit high. But then again, running casual leagues, it would be nice to see a lot of detail, like just a mix, I guess. If it's sim racing, always professional, because if it's not professional, then it's gonna be shit. But in Roblox, mix.
I fully agree with Knight. I can't add much more.
So,
Um,
can you add
Yes.
anything?
Well, guess who's missed the question?
Great.
Oh
Damn it,
no, wait,
Scottish
no,
Dad.
no, I remember. It was about competitive or casual leagues. Something like that.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
I personally prefer more of the competitive side of things. Like,
But I'm
I'm
still
always
talking
one of
about
those
fully.
people.
I'm still talking about fully competitive league. Just whether you prefer it to be more relaxed rules or a really strict, like properly, like almost like real life professionalism.
I mean, I quite like that side of it, the whole professionalism side of things. So I'm more into leagues like that, I'd say,
Um,
just because it teaches you not to be a dick.
yeah, I mean, I guess I prefer the more casual side. So you don't have to stick to things as much. You can have a little bit more fun. FS is fun, but there are times where I do feel like you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place if you try and joke around a bit too much.
Still qualifying.
In
Alright.
general, when you have time.
God damn it, Knight.
That's what I have found.
Knight.
But obviously, in casual leagues, you run more of the risk of people just fucking about and being asses, which isn't ideal, really. Not what you want. Please stop. We've seen that one before as well.
Oh, we
Nicholas
have.
Ribcage.
So yeah, I was gonna. No, I'm the one who's forgotten what I was gonna say.
That's
Yes,
my fault.
it's not
I'm
just
sorry.
me.
I think we'll move. That one was a bit of a short topic. I was hoping it'd produce a little bit more conversation, but not quite. Which of these topics should I pick? I've got a few left. I'm not going to go through them all. We'll go for maybe one or two.
Fuck.
I think here's a good one. For a league to be successful in terms of organisation, what do you think is the most important thing it needs? So this could be anything between rules, rule books, spreadsheets, anything organisational. But what do you think is the most important thing for a league to have success?
I'm going first again. I'd say it would be like committed drivers who are committed to the league, and that will stick around for the full season, because that will keep the league very active, and therefore you can make small adjustments as you go, so that then everything improves the longer you go on, if you know what I mean. Shut up, my English isn't.
No, not yeah. I'm looking through shit and yeah. All right. Well, Knight's muted.
Knight's
Sam,
mute.
do you want to add in any thoughts?
I agree with Tail. You need the active people to keep the league going, because if you rely on like the people that turn up on one race, you're gonna have one race where no one turns up, and you need to find something that interests people to stay in it more. Like you need to have a league that that's different from everyone else. Have something different that gives people more reason to stay in rather than go to other leagues. Yeah. So.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
Sorry, I was AFK because I didn't hear the question.
It's
He's just moving the picture around.
It's in terms of organisation. What would you say is the most important thing for a league to have to be successful?
Uh, Probably organization.
Brilliant.
Just
Has
organisation.
literally-
That's
has-
it.
Well, no, I'm going to elaborate. Don't worry.
No.
This is in terms of organisation already.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a bit stupid then.
How should
Probably-
it be organised?
Well, first of all, you have to be committed,
Organised.
active. Wow. You need to make sure that you're on top of. You need to like picture. You need to be ready for most scenarios. Of course, some scenarios you can't really prepare for. Like if your parents suddenly spring up on you at the last second saying we're going for a roast dinner, then that's not really much you can do. But everything you can be prepared for, be prepared for. That's God said Pookie. Yeah, that's my point done before I start cracking up more.
Alright. Coming back to me then. I guess it's steps, really. Make sure that you have your things like all your spreadsheets, all your rule books set up properly first, so that you've got guidelines for people to follow. And then really the rest will sort of will slot in. So I'd say the most important thing is make sure you've got your, like, for organisation, have your background stuff sorted. Because if the background stuff is sorted, then it gives proper guidelines and a proper framework to use to build on.
Right.
Obviously, I have plenty of experience of working with this sort of stuff, so that's what I would say. In terms of topics, I'm going to say that is it, because we've run a 46-minute podcast, which is a pretty good length. Any
Okay.
final things you'd like to bring up as a final, like, notes or topics?
Cock.
Oh, of course.
Coronation Street will be back in half an hour.
Suck an egg.
Beautiful.
That's rude.
Well, that will be it for
Well-
podcast 3. Hope you all enjoyed, and the duck banana says goodbye.
Hope you like the
Is it just gonna
inspirational
dance around and?
Gonna dance to the crab wave.